Welcome to the Windows Computer and Technology channel, and we often hear about how some people are actually coming back to Windows 10 from Windows 11. You know, as a tech guy and as observations over time, because a lot of people are asking me, is Windows 11 really that bad? And I get a lot of comments on the channel. Well, it's another Windows 8 or Windows Vista, and one thing for sure, it's not at all a Windows Vista or a Windows 8 in terms of what it is and how it goes. One thing for sure is that a lot of people don't understand that every Windows version had its share of ranting. I see it all the time. Windows XP had a hell of a lot of ranting and of devices that didn't work because we had moved on to a new way of actually dealing with the Windows kernel, and it was different from Windows 98, and to a point where unless you had new drivers, most devices didn't work anymore. A lot of software didn't work anymore also, and that was a big rant, as big probably as we have with Windows 11 right now. The minimum requirements also were the same. A lot of rant for the minimum requirements. And we did have, the generations are very far apart. So when we have jumps of Windows operating systems from one system to another system, but we jump over one of the generations. Example, a lot of people jumped from XP directly to Windows 7 without ever touching Windows Vista. And that big jump is always something that is a problem, because that means you have many years in between. And a lot of hardware that you use from Windows XP, for example, were already old. And so people don't understand, yeah, well, I got a perfectly working printer, but it doesn't work anymore. That's because, yeah, it's an old printer, and that the problem isn't Windows here; it's the manufacturers, and that is the biggest problem. So, in the question of is Windows 11 another Vista? It's far from being another Vista, and it's far from being a Windows 8. It is a new Windows, and Windows 11 is different. Yeah, start menu is different. Live tiles like we have here in Windows 10 are gone. So that definitely is something that some people miss. There are ways and there are things where people aren't happy and kind of searching a little bit. But overall, people will move on to Windows 11 eventually. And it will probably come, and that's always been the case actually. In most cases, the majority of people move on to a new system because they buy a new computer. It's been the case almost always. Whatever you had as an operating system is what came with Windows, with the new PC you purchased. And that is going to be the case for a lot of people. Windows 11 will be mostly upgraded for people that buy a new computer. Eventually, they'll go out, buy a new PC to replace their old one, if that is something that they want to do. And Windows 11 will be on it, and that is all. When I see people saying, well, I bought a new PC that had Windows 11 pre-installed, I actually removed that and installed Windows 10. I think it's a very bad idea to have done so, as Windows 11 works great, and for that PC probably works fine. And it's just a question of, just getting used to it a little bit. As a tech guy over time, when people wanted to go back, an example of that is many PCs that were purchased with Windows 7, for example. People were telling me, I want to have Windows XP. What was worse is that a lot of those PCs did not have any possibility to go to Windows XP. Drivers did not exist. You couldn't go back. But for the most part, I always told them, it's a bad idea. You don't go back to an old system, because eventually you'll need Windows 7, because eventually Windows XP will be retired. And you'll still need to have Windows 7. You'll have to go back. So better get used to it right now. And I would say the same for PCs that are purchased with Windows 11 right now. Just get used to it. It is not bad, and it is not a operating system that crashes or has tons of issues. Mainly because a lot of it relies on the code of Windows 10, and that's a proven and stable code. When I see people complaining, well, this thing doesn't work and has tons of crashes, when you look at the background noise, the famous background noise I talk about all the time here on the channel, there aren't people, if we take real problems, because this is where also it is something to check. Real problems, I mean crashes, blue screens, freezes, there aren't more people complaining about it in Windows 11 for the percentage of machines that have updated for the market share than in Windows 10. So it's not a problematic system. Most of what I've seen that people say is a problem aren't problems. It's people not being used to the system or not really moving on to or understanding what happened. I had an example here in my family when Windows 10 arrived. Somebody that was using Windows 8 moved to Windows 10. And the first thing that person told me is like, oh, Windows 10 is no good. I moved back to Windows 8. I lost everything. And it's like, what did you lose? Well, I lost my favorites and my Internet Explorer stuff. And yeah, because on Windows 8, it moved you to Edge. But Internet Explorer was still there with all your stuff. But the icon was so similar of Edge, the first generation, that people got fooled thinking they're using Internet Explorer. So these are not, there's a problem with the PC and I'm rolling back. These are, I didn't understand that. I was pushed to something else and I'm rolling back because I'm not happy, but in reality, you really never needed to roll back at all. So there's a lot of that. And I would say that the majority of ranting of Windows 11 and people going back to Windows 10 is mostly the non-understanding of certain little things and thinking that, well, the system is broken when it's really not. And that is, the way it is. And it's been like that for all Windows versions. And like a lot of people have commented, every time there's a new Windows version, there's an extremely, extremely big amount of ranting and people unhappy. And that's simply because you got to adapt to something new. Now, I do understand that, for most people, like I've said so many times in videos, they just don't care about new stuff. So that's one part why they might be ranting, because it's like, I don't need that new stuff. Why the hell is that here? And that's a valid point. I mean, you want to use your PC, you want it to be pretty much the way you want every day. And you don't want to have to, learn something new or change your habits because of something new. And that is for the average user. People that come here and comment and say, well, I don't understand these people. Well, it's because we're different. There's different types of users. There's the users that just want to use their PC every day and always have the same thing. There's the tech enthusiasts. And a lot of you on the channel here are tech enthusiasts, like I am. Tech enthusiasts like the new stuff. They want to see it. They want to try it. They want to go there. And that's a different type of person. But we can't compare ourselves to a standard user because the standard user doesn't care about all of that. Just wants a PC that runs. But nope, Windows 11 is not a Vista or Windows 8 in my opinion. It is actually going to march on with, probably going to be a lot better in the next big update next year. And we'll see where it goes anyways, as we'll go into 2022. If you enjoy my videos, please subscribe, give us a thumbs up. Thank you for watching.